welcome to my Scrappin space. I'm Joni Martin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator located in Southwest Wisconsin. And I'm here to share with you a card we made as part of our InColor Club for the InColor Secret C. Let's get my face out of the way and talk about card making. There we go. So each time a new catalog comes out, they introduce 5 new InColors and remove 5 InColors. And when they do that, I offer what's called an InColor Club. So for 5 months, when the people sign up for the club, we pick a color a month. They get product related to that color, plus 2 card kits related to that. And this is one of the card kits we did for Secret C. I'm going to talk just a little bit about the products I used, and I'm going to show you how we made it. So the paper itself comes from Floral Charm, which is an online exclusive suite. And there's a die called Charming Day. Oh, it has some wonderful shapes, but I chose this one because I like the length of it and I wanted to go across these papers. Let me show you how I got that paper to work. I'm going to just set this die back so it gets put away, so I'm not looking later for where it goes. So I began with a piece of bubble bath, but you can find all the supplies I used, the directions, the measurements, all on my Scrappin with Joni blog. And looks like I grabbed something and I'm missing a piece. Let me just grab it here. Sorry. You think you're ready and then you're not. Here's what we need. Okay. Notice they're not the same size. I wanted to add some interest. And it does seem to have a direction, so I want to think about that. So the first thing I did was attach top and bottom to those things, okay? And that's going to get you this look here. And so we're going to use just a touch of multi-purpose glue. We're going to be really light with this though, because the next step is to emboss. And emboss means we're going to run it through and put pressure on it in our cut and emboss machine. And when you put pressure, that glue is going to spread out, and we don't want it coming out onto our card or onto our embossing folder. But the reason you want to use multi-purpose glue is this. I can move it around and get it lined up right where I want it. And a little bit more here. And see how I'm kind of putting it in the center? So again, when I emboss it, the glue will spread out, but it's not going to come out on my card base. There we go. Then I felt like this needed embossing, like it was just a little blah, a little flat. Any overall embossing folder would work. I chose birchwood. I just kind of really like the lines. And I chose to have the lines going across here, which means I put it in this way. And let me just share a tip with you. If you're doing a lot of cards, I can fit 2 card fronts in and get them embossed at the same time. We're just going to do one. Now, when I get a new embossing folder, I put the name on it so I remember what it is to tell you, and the sandwich, meaning which plates we're going to use. So we're going to use plates 1. You always use plate 1. And we're going to use plate 4, which in the cut and emboss system is this gray one. And there's always a plate on top, so whatever the last number is, that's your top plate. You want to protect what's going through your machine, whether it's an embossing folder or a die cut. And by having a plate on top, it protects your machine and it protects the product you're sending through. Then we're just going to roll it. Just like that. And it should be as easy in your machine. If it's not, stop and check that you have the right sandwich, that everything is lined up, go straight through the machine. I'm going to just pull this out so it doesn't hit my camera stand. And show you what we have. There we go. Look what a difference that makes. Just that one step of embossing makes all the difference. Okay, I'm going to put this here so you can see what we're doing. And let's put our card together now. I'm going to start with a Secret C. Remember, that was the color of the month that we did. Card base. And again, the numbers, all the measurements are on there. I'm going to attach this to this, and I'm going to use multi-purpose glue because it's, as you can see, it's really heavily embossed. And sometimes, as much a fan as I am of our tape runners, when you have a heavily embossed surface like that, they can kind of just float on the top. And notice I didn't go all the way to the edges because I'm going to push down on this and I don't want that glue coming out. Now I did this so the wider piece was at the bottom, but you could do it. Or if you didn't like the idea that one was a different size than the other, you could cut them the same size. There's a lot you could do. This is a great use of scraps. Or I could have cut 3 strips and put one in the center and the other 2 further up. But it helps if you're going to do this. Notice how I started with a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of bubble bath. I had one solid. I didn't try to piece it on the card front. That you wouldn't be able to emboss it, and it's really hard to get things lined up. Now sometimes when it's this heavily embossed, it's hard to kind of get that glue to go where you want and for it to lay down. So what I do is I turn it over and I just rub it with the bone folder. You could push it with your hand, but that kind of helps get it to do what you want. Next is this die cut piece that we have here. And I used dimensionals to pop it up. Now you could use white dimensionals, you don't really see it, but we also have black dimensionals, and I'm just grabbing those because it's a dark color, and so they're less noticeable. I was pretty generous with these, but I put them where they weren't going to be seen. So like on the back of there. But white would work fine too. It's just I have them, and so I'd like to use them. And I'm just kind of, oops, there we go. Going around, what I want to make sure is that there's not one part of my cutout, like 1/2 or something that doesn't have dimensionals on it, because then that part will be kind of flat on your card. But that's plenty right there. So now we're going to peel off the back of them. And when we take off the backs, we're going to put them in my little trash bowl here so that they stay in place till I dump it. Otherwise, I used to just toss them to the side. And then those backings they're very staticky. So they'd cling to my clothes or my shoes, and they'd land up in my car or upstairs. And we don't want that. So we're just picking them up and taking care of it while we're at it. There we go. See, they don't even want to come off your finger. There. And then I just set this so it crossed all 3 papers. Just like that. And I felt I needed one more thing there. So I grabbed, we have what are called flat pearls. So they're great for cards because they don't stick up too much in the InColors. And they're in 2 sets. Secret C is part of the 25-27 InColors. And there's this flat pearls that come in all those colors. And then there's a set in 24-26. So I grabbed the Secret C ones, and I'm going to use 3. I like to use odd numbers when I add embellishments. Look how much they pop against that bubble bath. And when I do 3, I do them in a roughly triangular shape, which just means one is by itself and the other 2 are closer together. There we go. Then I have a little strip for the inside. It's just a 1/2 inch strip. I'm not going to attach it right now because I'm going to stamp a sentiment on this. I think it's going to be a birthday, but I want to stamp it, make sure my stamping looks good, and then I attach this. Because maybe I'll muck it up and then I'll put it on this side. But let's see if I have a sample in here. See what a difference that makes? That little 1/2 inch scrap of paper just really brings the front of your card to the inside and really finishes it. But let's talk about the envelope flap now. We're not going to send this really pretty card in this basic white envelope. I mean, Stampin' Up has beautiful envelopes, but they're still just white. So we're going to add to the envelope flap the same paper. Now, this has an up and down. Obviously, the flowers are going this way. Where the fold is the top. So you want that to be going up and down like that too. I'm going to put glue just on the envelope flap. Just like that. And then we're going to do this. then I'm going to trim it, and I'm going to use the envelope flap as my guide. And I'm just going to trim around like that. And as easy as that, I have gone from kind of boring naked envelope to a really pretty envelope that when someone gets this in the mail, they're going to want to open this envelope first because it's the prettiest one. Like they can't wait to see what's inside of it. Look at that. How easy was that to make? And this was one of our cards for the InColor Club for Secret C. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it more than you know. If you liked what you saw, please share it with your crafty friends. And until next time, take care and keep crafting. It's good for you.